After showcasing how strong lightning damage is in Elden Ring, it was time to see how it fared in the DLC. With the additional buffs, weapons, and spells that the DLC has to offer, I felt it would do a pretty good job making up for the increased health pools and defenses of the DLC's bosses. So like the video, subscribe, and let's jump into the Land of Shadows with the power of lightning. First up was a weapon to take care of the beginning of the setup. And of course, I had to go with the lightning perfume bottle. And the DLC also has one of the strongest lightning incantations in the entire game, Knight's Lightning Spear, found in the Scorpion River catacombs. I sniped myself the Rolling Sparks Ash of War for my perfume bottle, and threw a big old pot into this furnace golem and killed him for the blood-sucking crack tier. The first fight is a little underwhelming. Gaius gatekeeps a few Erdtree levels, so he's the best first choice when wanting to get maximum damage potential. With how much of a freak Gaius is, it's pretty annoying to try and get a charged cast or attack off, so the perfume bottle does the trick. It hits fast, and you can chunk him down quick enough, considering the limited Erdtree level and the lack of full buffing. But now it was time to run through the Darklight catacombs to really get the full build online. Grabbing the Death Knight armor buffs the Knight's Lightning Spear, and killing Jory gets me a few more fragments, and more importantly, the Aged One's Exaltation Talisman. Now with the full build, setup is a little annoying. Golden Vow and Howl of Shabriri for some big damage boosts, and when Howl procs Madness, both the Black Dumpling headpiece and Exaltation Talisman trigger, increasing damage even more. We swapped these out for the Kindred of Rot Talisman and the Mushroom Crown, then intentionally poison ourselves. All of that, plus the Lightning Shrouding Crack tier and Blood Sucking Crack tier in my Physic Flask, there's some good damage. I slapped the other hippos around the world and absolutely melted Ancient Dragon Man for as much access to Scadu fragments as possible. I had to buff at the top of Putrescent Night Arena since I had already triggered the boss fight, as I do have the habit of just quitting out once it's triggered, but this is one of the few bosses you don't want to do that for. So unfortunately I lost some of my buffs just from the 10-minute journey of falling into an abyss, but Putrescent Night still went pretty well. And while I don't think it would have one-shot even with full buffs active, it would have damn near done the one-shot job, but I also wasn't complaining about this damage at all. For Romina, I decided to switch up to the Bolt of Gransax, old reliable from the base game. Since Romina was pretty easy to get distance on, she could also close that distance quick, and the Bolt is just a bit faster. I feel it was the right choice and I could greed a bit more, and made short work of her. Like a good chunk of bosses in the DLC, they ended up being too quick for charged attacks, which really hurts spells in this game because of how large the buff the Godfrey icon grants. But Mesmer still got blasted through pretty quick. You just have to know when to respect. After chunking through a few of the remembrances, it was time for Bayle. And if you're able to first try it and have him enter from the sky instead of already being in the room when you walk in, you get rewarded with a pretty crazy punish window. This was one of the most fun Bayle fights I've ever had. I just got to play greedy as hell, tank some tyranny, and just lob some lightning at him. There was something so simple and cathartic about it. I finished up the two newbies, Dancing Lion and Raylana, and I forgot how nerfed they get with a higher Erdtree count. I just kinda let them try and slap me and unloaded on them. But the perfume bottles ended up being great for Letta and the boys. They really just let you go crazy on them, and they don't seem to know how to dodge it. So with the split aggro of this fella, they got rolled. Which only left Radon. And yeah, even when you're super min-maxed and get a fully charged punish opportunity, it doesn't necessarily nuke. But the damage was more than serviceable, and as long as you respect the moves you have to, and you don't get too charge attack pilled, he goes down pretty easy with lightning. And with that, it's safe to say that the DLC was sure to add to some nice broken lightning to break the game, and proving that it's one of the best sources of damage, and more importantly, it's one of the most fun to use, with the only downside being you're kind of restrained to the same buffing process before every fight. So while a little tedious, if you're willing to do that, you can absolutely melt the DLC. So like the video and let me know the ways you fried this game with lightning. I'd love to toy around with more and even sillier builds. And I'll see you in the next one.